with her team at Proppy, which I think is fantastic. And let me call you Natalia. Natalia, I'm sorry about that, but um, what Natalia has basically done is she's leading and she's setting up what will ultimately be not just Bitcoin loans on one piece of real estate, but just think about a mortgage-backed security market that is Bitcoin denominated. Think about how exciting that is, where you'll be merging the best asset in the world with real estate. Okay,
Absolutely.
so
Thank you, Anthony.
those are my formal remarks. I just want to congratulate the entire team and tell you that you've got the right vision for things. But in addition to having the right vision for things, the regulatory pieces are being put in place to allow you to execute your vision. Thank you
I
guys very
totally
much. I
agree.
really appreciate being here. I want to turn it over to Michael and Natalia.
Thank you. Thank you, Anthony. Michael, do you have thoughts on what Anthony just mentioned? I totally agree that now we're finally free to rewrite and redesign the whole financial model as it exists today on the new rails, which is the on-chain rails. And we're hearing it every day this week with new crypto force in place and a number of bills coming up. So it's a fascinating time to be
Yeah.
building.
No, it truly is. And I think, just again, hats off to Proppy. I'm very proud to be an advisor of you guys because I think you are really driving forward innovation, not only in real estate, but really in how do we unlock the value of this store of value, right? We've all been talking about Bitcoin as a store of value for some time. But I think, to what Anthony was saying, there's now this capacity to say, all right, I have this. This is what collateral is. I remember, Raoul Powell makes the point that he says, Bitcoin is pristine collateral. It's the sort of the perfection of it in the sense that it doesn't have, there's the immutability, but there's also this, automaticity to it. It's digital. You can act upon it very quickly. You can build smart contracts on top of it, et cetera, et cetera. And so this thing that everybody was all about hodling, and obviously for good reason, because people see it as a long-term store of value, is nonetheless, up until now been viewed as, something that you can sit on and at some point later on, for your kids unlock and when you need it, you can draw upon it. But there was always this possibility that we would treat it as collateral, that you would then be able to more immediately unlock value. And real estate is the perfect place to go for it. So the idea that now, I mean, this is the second step in this, because there was the deal with Coinbase at the end of the last year as well with you guys, where you've got the escrow practice now, using on-chain custody as a way to lock up funds through the escrow process. Combine that with the loan, and now you're really bringing the power of these digital asset mechanisms to get people a chance to really build wealth and build opportunities for themselves. I think that no longer do you have to make the choice between selling your Bitcoin and buying a home. You can actually do the latter without selling, and I think that really sort of is a very dynamic thing. And just to add one more point to really what Anthony was saying as well, the institutional element to this is really interesting. And I mean, the fact that it's coming as we are seeing a dramatic change in the regulatory and legislative environment, along with the uppick of Bitcoin and other assets by large institutions, really gets me wondering, what's going to happen when we start seeing all these loans packaged, and then the providers who are involved in the Bitcoin ETF market building products on top of this. This could get extremely interesting and quite dynamic very quickly.
Thank you, Michael. I totally agree with you. And I'm hearing that at Davos, there's a lot of attention from institutional and governmental entities to RWAs, to real world assets, including real estate. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I actually said one of the most interesting panels I sat on was a little one. It wasn't sort of as big as some of these ones that everyone else was referring to. It was the Brazilian government. So Brazil is actually far ahead in some respects. It's quite conservative in others, but in some aspects, it's much further ahead than others in things like stablecoin legislation. And it's got a very effective its own. It's not really a CBDC, but it is a digital payment system that's extremely advanced, and it has full support of the central bank. And so banks there are trading in digital assets with a lot of fairly well structured legislation around it. And they have a very broad RWA strategy. They're really looking at the breadth of assets and trying to come up with rules in place to make it fluid for these banks that are already capable of digital assets to unlock it. And I always think, as you know, Natalia, I'm very interested in developing countries and land title and real estate. So the idea that these places that traditionally have had a very hard time proving out the collateral of their real estate because of the history of corruption and problems in some of those records. Now are in this leapfrogging position where not only are they getting the strength of their property titles, but there's the capacity to represent those assets in digital form and trade them. And you've got countries like Brazil that are actually, leapfrogging ahead and building a framework for doing that. So I think there's going to be a lot of the world looking at countries like that. There's clearly a lot of talk. The BIS is talking about tokenization. It's out there. People are realizing that this is the future of finance. But I think are going to be wary. There's a lot of ingrained systems and a lot of incumbent interest that runs up against the implementation of appropriate regulation in Europe and I would say in the US as well. So it's going to be interesting to watch the developing world, like Brazil, maybe leading the way here.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Michael. I totally agree that now when we do this innovation and redesigning the systems in the United States, it will further be an example for the developing countries to really do this leapfrog and get into the innovative infrastructure where you can originate loans or originate mortgages entirely on chain, treat real estate assets as an on-chain digital assets, which I strongly believe in because real estate ownership is really a record. It's not the walls. You cannot steal the walls. It's always there. So that's why it behaves truly as a digital asset. And a little bit of details about this upcoming first Bitcoin loan on 29th of January next week. It's a $250,000 property. It will be a bidding process where you could bid with Bitcoin, Ethereum, or USDC, and you could apply for a loan on the spot. And so if you have $250,000 or more in Bitcoin and you'd like to participate, you could use it as a collateral, as a leverage, and you'll be able to have 2 years to repay the loan. And it gives an amazing opportunity again to leverage Bitcoin. You don't have to exit your position and pay taxes. And there is a specific structure, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you have. We also have Tony here, who's been an amazing supporter. Tony is a crypto influencer, crypto content creator, interviewing one of the most prominent crypto doers and figures. And Tony has been really great in understanding our instant real estate assets on chain. So Tony, welcome. What do you think about this invention? Do you have any questions?
Thanks, Natalia. It's great to be here, and congrats to you and the team on this innovative product. I love it. I guess the big question I have is when New Jersey and New York, because I want to use some of my Bitcoin and crypto to buy some real estate. It's funny, I was talking to my wife because our portfolio's up, and instead of me, exiting the market into fiat, I could use my Bitcoin. So I love that process of it. And as you're talking about this product, I thought of we often talk about interoperability when it comes to different chains in the crypto space in the digital realm. Well, this is interoperability with the digital realm and the real world, being able to easily move your crypto to use it, spend it, use it as collateral, whatever it may be. So I see this as just amazing and the bridge between these two asset classes.
Love it. I love how practical you are, and also the interoperability. I call it, let's make real estate liquid and let's make it swappable between Bitcoin and real estate. But literally, it's the interoperability of those two systems. As we rewrite the real estate ownership and mortgage processes, Bitcoin is already proven itself as a store of value, as an unbreakable rails, the blockchain itself. So yeah, love it. And New Jersey is coming. We'll have some news relative to your location in the upcoming month. Overall, probably will have so many news in the upcoming weeks. It's mind blowing what team has been able to deliver. Yeah, thank you, Tony. Jen, are you here? Jen Styles, I'd love to give a word. If not, Megan, could you please take over?
Yeah, sure. So actually, I've been loving what everybody's been saying, and yeah, what Michael was saying about being able to unlock that instant value, and like you said, Natalia, the benefits of being able to utilize your Bitcoin. I think you mentioned also that it has tax benefits as well. My God, this is just so amazing. I don't know anybody in the crypto world, in the Bitcoin world, who wouldn't want to use their Bitcoin in this way without having to sell it. I mean, it's absolutely revolutionary. It's super exciting. And I'd like to, as we wait for Jen to jump on, I'd like to intro a friend of mine who I just saw jump on the spaces here, Fiddy. We've met each other at many conferences around the world, and Fiddy works in the real estate industry as well. And I'd really love to get your take on, what's all happening in the innovation that Proppy is doing here, this new announcement.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. I like what I'm hearing. It's very interesting, and I've been in real estate for a long time in development. And one of the things that I've been kind of challenged on this whole real estate blockchain thing is, I was on a space with Grant Cardone, and I asked him like, "Hey, why aren't you buying property on chain yet?" He's like, "I don't want to go to jail." So like the SEC was a big red flag. I think with the new regulations that we're coming into, I think it's going to open some doors. But one of the things that really fascinates me is not just using your Bitcoin to buy real estate, because at the end of the day, like transferring your Bitcoin and selling it and buying it is fantastic, or you could sell it, or you can buy it on chain. But if you actually look at some of the things you could do, let's say Bitcoin sitting at 100,000, give or take, and you buy a piece of real estate, and you use Bitcoin to buy it, and your loans in real estate, the mortgage, and Bitcoin now, goes to a couple 100,000. Well, guess what? People can actually live, with mortgage free just by owning Bitcoin, because it's got such a good upside. So are you guys doing anything with like escrow, mortgage, title? Because that's the part where I'm stuck right now. I don't know how to get everybody on board. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of regulations you have to go through when you own a piece of real estate, especially in the United States.
Yeah, let me cover that, because even though we love what Grant Cardone right now is doing, launching the Bitcoin and real estate fund, he does not understand the blockchain rails, the infrastructure. He started to understand the Bitcoin as an asset class recently, and it's amazing how he unites now those two asset classes. But he doesn't understand the escrow, the smart contract, neither the regulation. So there are two types of tokenization. One type is securities or security tokens, which represent a fractional ownership of real estate. We don't do that. We don't talk about it today. What we do is tokenizing one asset at a time, which is not a security. So if Grant would launch a fund and register it with SEC, it's very straightforward. It's the most straightforward thing to do in terms of real estate tokenization. Nobody would go to jail if he just follows the SEC rules and do a Reg A or Reg D. Here we're talking about having one real estate asset on chain and selling it to one buyer, which is not a security. As we know, homes are not securities. One home, when you sell it to a consumer, it's not a security. So the regulation is very clear, and what Proppy is doing, it's pretty straightforward and very clear. We're selling a home on chain, which is not a security. And now when we do a Bitcoin loan, that's the next level of innovation. it allows the Bitcoiner to leverage their Bitcoin. We're providing a loan with a loan agreement, again, everything compliantly. And then the secret sauce here is that Propi is a licensed title and escrow company. So we do the entire due diligence, we clear the title, we create an LLC that is tied to the token, the tokenized asset itself, and it's recorded in the county because we're a licensed title and escrow company. So that's kind of the caveat, and that's why we're so excited. You know, we spent 7 years into the licensing and building the infrastructure and building the product and the KYC process and so on. And finally, we got to this point to launch the first ever Bitcoin loan, and it's backed by a real estate asset on chain. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, no, it's good. I just want to ask one more question. So when you buy a property, like I heard you have one in Hawaii, will you actually do the whole process with title, escrow, KYC, and you get a deed just like you would if you were buying currency?
Yes, so all the due diligence and the title and everything is done in advance. It's already been executed. The property already lives on chain. That's our know-how. And then on the day of the bidding, every single person who is bidding will have to pass a very quick 2-minute KYC just to provide their identity. And we check that the person is not in a sanctioned country, and that's all. And then they can get a loan, they can get the real estate asset following the real estate regulation and RESPA.
Now, does the title of the deed, does that stay on chain, or do you get physical copies like you would get from title?
That's a great question. So the deed itself belongs to a newly created LLC, and whoever owns the token owns the LLC and the real estate assets respectively. So that's how we change. We change the owner of the LLC on the spot digitally on chain, but the LLC is already recorded in the county. So we did this work as a title company right before the sale. It's already executed.
Got it. Okay, that's very cool. Yeah, no, I gave you a follow. I'd love to know more about it, and we could chat offline. I'd like to ask you some questions if that's okay.
Of course, and thank you so much for so detailed questions. I'm glad that the community is starting to understand those details because they're critical, right? To understand how it works, why it's truly on chain, how
Right.
it's legal and compliant. So I do appreciate your questions.
I,
Thank
I
you.
got into the space because of real estate. I develop a lot of property in like Calabasas, Hidden Hills area, and I do a lot of development. I've done 7 seasons on Selling Sunset, and
Oh,
so
wow.
that I've been really deeply involved in that. I hate the process of paperwork. I just finished escrow this morning, so I can't stand it. So the minute this all goes on the blockchain, it will be such a relief for everybody because people don't realize when you buy a house that's $1 million. I'm just going to use a number, and you get a 30-year loan. By the time you finish paying off that house in 30 years, you probably spent $2.5 million. They don't even know what they're
Oh,
signing.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So the
It's this,
transparency could really help people in the space.
yeah, transparency and eliminating a lot of expensive human interaction during the escrow and title process. That's exactly it, and that's our goal in the United States to enhance the escrow and title and do it entirely via smart contracts. So I'm happy to hear that you understand the process. Sorry, it's been painful, but we're here to deliver it less painful experience and fully bring it on chain one day. I just followed you, so let's stay in touch. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I love it. And мы можем по-русски тоже говорить.
Отлично. Awesome. Megan?
Okay, so yeah, I
Yeah.
think we're going to take it from here. I'll let Elias take the mic now. We're going to pass it to some other speakers, but Fidi, it's great to see you. You know, you're an awesome thought leader in the space, and I always like to have you here because you always have some really amazing input. So that'd be a really interesting collaboration there to see. So thanks for jumping on, and Elias, I'll let you take it away.
Thank you, Megan. Yes. So I really just wanted to also introduce Damon, who is our Propi Crypto Certified agent that is in Honolulu, Hawaii. And he's actually the one that brought us the seller to be able to do this real estate on chain sale in Hawaii, Hawaii's first. So I wanted to pass the mic to Damon and give him a chance to introduce himself and kind of his experience so far. Damon?
Hi, thank you, Elias. Thank you, Natalia, and all you you distinguished speakers. So Damon Hawaii here. I'm the broker working very closely with Proppy in Hawaii to make this first NFT sale of a property here, make it happen. My experience so far is it's been really exciting, interesting. The normal escrow transaction process involves buyer seller coming together, and it takes 4 to 6 weeks before the property actually changes hands. I mean, it's like watching grass grow. This is completely different. We've taken the transaction, turned it upside down, and we've done all the work up front. So the inspections, the condominium documents, everything that you would normally do after buyer and seller come into, sign the purchase contract, we're doing that ahead of time. And I think we now have a blueprint going forward where we can actually take the training wheels off of what we've been doing and just move full speed ahead with this. It's really exciting. If any of you have any questions about how we have been doing it, please don't hesitate to ask. But the training wheels are still on there, but they will come off soon. Thank you, Elias.
No, thank you, Damon. Well, I just wanted to quickly also ask you, so why don't you kind of tell us a little bit about the appetite and kind of the reception so far about some of the other agents and other crypto certified agents that are out in Honolulu with you? I know that there seems to be kind of a buzz and interest around this monumental and historic sale next week.
Yes, we had our regional meeting last week, metro meeting in Honolulu, and I spoke a bit, and there was a lot of excitement. There's a lot of the old timers that are kind of looking at what I was saying as if I were an alien coming from another planet. We're going to record on the blockchain instead of the Bureau of Conveyances. We can do both, but there's been a lot of buzz from agents that really want to get on board and learn how to do this.
I absolutely love to hear that, Damon. Thank you so much. Well, I'm going to pass the mic back over to Crypto Megan.
Yeah, oh man, I'm loving what I'm hearing here. It's just so exciting. It's such like a huge milestone for the industry and for property and for real estate. I mean, it's crazy to think that we've come this far. So this is such an exciting announcement. And I'd actually like to just hear from our next speaker now, Jen. I saw you've been able to join us. Just wanted to welcome you and see what you think about everything.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, congratulations to the entire Proppy team. I mean, this is such a huge triumph. So kudos to you guys. I know you've been working so hard on this. My background, I worked at WeWork for 5 years, and I also own property. So when 50 was saying about the documents that you have to sign when you purchase a property, it's very intimidating and daunting, and it's so much work. So I can't wait for this new technology. But I would love to know, how is it like if I own, like, walk me through the process. I apologize if you've already done that, but if I were to connect you with WeWork or the team over there, how could something like this how could Proppy benefit companies like a Lennar, WeWork, or any of the big brands?
Thank you, Jen. And first of all, it's so amazing to have you here. Jen has been a vocal leader in the crypto space as a speaker, investor, and Jen also worked with WeWork, Adam Newman, who just recently launched a real estate project called Flow. So I was lucky enough to be invited to their opening of their new condo building. So yeah, it's exciting to have you here. One of the people in both real estate and crypto. Yeah, so happy to speak a little bit more about the process, because we have so much interest here in Miami from real estate developers that want to leverage this new growing Bitcoin community. That obviously with every bull run, they want to diversify, they want to have exposure to real estate. So the way it works is that the Bitcoin holder would follow on the link. By the way, team, let's put the wait list link here for this property. So this property is cost $250,000. So the Bitcoin holder would apply to buy a property on the spot, and would also click if they want a loan. They would then transfer the $250,000 in Bitcoin to our protocol, and as a licensed title and escrow company, we hold this Bitcoin under custody with a Coinbase wallet. And then if you win the bidding process, the seller receives $250,000 or more in USDC, and that's your loan. It's a 10% interest rate product for 2 years. So within 2 years, you would need to pay the installments. You could choose to send dollars or USDC, or you could choose us to allow us to actually use your Bitcoin for monthly installments until the collateral drops to 150%. So it's a double collateral, the real estate price, $250,000, and Bitcoin, $250,000. Yeah, so that's kind of in essence, and it all happens within 1 day. The bidding
Wow.
process is 24 hours, and after 24 hours, we'll know who is the winner, and the property ownership will be transferred, and the loan, everything will be executed. The seller is happy, and the buyer is happy.
That's fantastic. It's incredible how quickly the process can be. I'm sure it's seamless too.
Thank you. Yeah, well, that's the beauty of smart contracts.
Exactly.
Awesome. Yeah, thank
Okay,
you
so
so much for being here, Jen.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm always happy to support you all.
yeah, fantastic. And we're just, I think Amanda Terry was in the house. We saw her getting on, so we're trying to bring her up as a speaker as well. So as we wait for her to join as a speaker, maybe we can tackle a few more questions, Natalia, about just exactly how it works. What have been, for example, what have been some of the biggest challenges you faced? Because that was one of the biggest questions we got on panels of RWAs at WEF at Davos. And they wanted to know, the implementation of all this and like the inner workings. What are some of the main challenges that you've encountered?
Yeah, that's a great question. And actually, would love to bring more people on stage for questions. I see Joseph from Milo here. Hey, good to see you. Uwe, our token holder and also real estate and crypto investor and doer. Anita, Drew. Yeah, so many great people here. So if you guys have a comment or a question, please request becoming a speaker here. Yeah, so I think the main challenge has been thinking about scaling. So this first product, the first Bitcoin loan next week is really a proof of concept where we provide the capital. But then how do we scale it? How we form a bigger capital and unite lenders and maybe even go peer to peer where the community is becoming the lender. So we're in conversations with other crypto lenders and traditional mortgage companies. And the challenge has been is that the crypto lenders, they don't understand real estate and they kind of don't want to get into the route of understanding this type of collateral. At the same time, the mortgage providers, they understand real estate, but they don't understand crypto. So that has been the main challenge. But now with the US crypto friendly administration, everything is shifting. And it's so easy for us to knock on the door to any mortgage company or even those governmental entities or bigger asset holders in real estate and open the door and start the conversation. It's been incredibly easy for us to engage. So I think very, very soon we'll see a scalable solution for this that will allow to rewrite the whole mortgage industry one day.
Oh wow, yeah. I mean, it's really amazing to hear about, what you've experienced on the back end, because you are pioneers in this industry. You do have to work with such a traditional industry while educating people about this brand new tech. You're doing a phenomenal job and certainly paving the way in this field. So it's exciting to see, Natalia. So congratulations on that. And I'd like to now bring up a friend of mine I just saw us joined as a speaker, Amanda Terry, who is also in Davos. She is the co-founder and COO of MetaGood and creator of Onchain Monkey. Amanda, man, it's good to see you. I know we didn't catch up in Davos, but it's good to be here.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry we didn't get to meet up. I left Wednesday, so I was only there for like 2 quick days, but I was at the crypto finance conference in St. Moritz before, and definitely several of the panels, but one of them was about real world asset tokenization. So I was thinking about you, Natalia, and just want to say congratulations. It's really exciting what you guys are doing. Obviously, my background is a bit more on the NFTs and art on Bitcoin, but we like anybody who is helping to onboard users into crypto. And obviously, real estate is a huge market that can bring a lot of people into crypto. So love what you guys are doing at Proppy, and congratulations on this exciting. Is this the first tokenized real estate sale in Hawaii, or?
So it's we've invented the tokenized asset on chain sale during the last bull run. So we did the first ever in the world, the first ever in Florida. So this one will be the first ever in Hawaii. And we were not able to scale it because of the lack of the loan product. And now finally we're able to launch the product, and I think people definitely need a loan or a mortgage product to start buying those assets on chain. And of course, it's very much correlated with what you do, Amanda. And I know we talked about it extensively in the summer during the Acti global event in Europe. That it's very similar to how we transact art as an NFT, how we want to leverage other tokens, Bitcoin, for those purchases, and how both digital art and Bitcoin, we want those assets to be swappable, similar to how my passion is to make real estate as an asset class swappable with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency. So it's amazing to have you here, and would love to learn and to hear more. What were the conversations in Davos, and anything interesting you're hearing in the RWA space?
Yeah, I mean, for anyone who doesn't know, 'cause I see some monkeys there. I see on-chain accountants. I see a couple other monkeys here in the audience, but On-Chain Monkey, I'm the co-founder. We started the company back in 21. We were the first 10,000 NFTs done in a single Ethereum transaction. And then my co-founder, Danny Yang, who founded the Stanford Bitcoin meetup in 2013 and the largest cryptocurrency exchange in Taiwan called MyCoin, had the foresight to inscribe all 10,000 of those SVG files, those monkeys that were on chain, onto Bitcoin, as the Ordinals protocol launched a little over 2 years ago. So that's allowing data, art, music, any type of assets to be inscribed directly on chain, on the largest L1, which is Bitcoin. We've seen a huge growth of kind of art being inscribed on Bitcoin, which has contributed to a lot of fees to the miners, which is obviously helping to secure Bitcoin. So it's been exciting. I mean, in some ways, it still feels relatively early days in terms of art on Bitcoin. I'd say we have not had our Beeple moment yet. And when I refer to that, I really mean like a super well-known artist, for millions and millions of dollars doing a sale. But I think 2025 could be the year. We've been in talks with, a number of people in the art space, and, they're very excited about digital assets like art being on Bitcoin, because, unlike NFTs on Ethereum, which are kind of digital certificates that are pointing to offline file storage systems, but you don't actually own the asset on chain, the Ordinals protocol allows you to actually own the art and the digital certificate directly on chain and trade them. And so, all of this art that is going onto Bitcoin will outlast us all, kind of like the Lascaux cave paintings kind of that have obviously outlasted all the people that painted those on the walls centuries ago. So we think it's an incredibly exciting, immutable, scarce asset. And yeah, we're really excited to kind of be one of the innovating companies that are doing a lot on chain with art.
Amazing. And I think in 2025, you'll be able to onboard some major artists and influencers during the last NFT bull run. Obviously, all those doers and creators brought the whole attention to the crypto space, and we were able to onboard so many people globally, but they were all punished, right, by fines, lawsuits, and whatnot. But with the new crypto administration, I'm sure finally those influencers and creators will again be back and won't be penalized anymore. And so we're seeing this attention from the movie makers, the musical industry, the artists, and on our side also from traditional players like real estate developers, real estate bigger brokerages. They're not afraid anymore to engage and to allow this innovation to scale. So it's definitely outstanding times to be building and onboarding.
Yeah, for sure. I think one of my takeaways, because I did not actually know this number, and I apologize, I have a little bit of a cold coming back. I think I just like overextended
I'm
myself
sorry.
over there, or maybe I caught on the plane, but I had a little cough. Was there was a guy who's the founder of Gunzilla, and at first, at the CFC conference, he was like, the title was about like gaming, onboarding people into Web3, and I'm not so much of a big gamer, so I was gonna like kind of leave and go do something else. And then he's like, "No, do you want to understand how we bring more people to crypto?" I'm like, "Of course I do." So I obviously sat through his panel, and the first question he asked is like, "How many active wallets are there in all of Web3? Like, how many active wallets?" And everyone kind of went around the room. I think I overshot by at least like a sixfold, but his fact was that there's about 10 million, only 10 million active wallets right now in Web3, and that his game, which is like a Web3 kind of like a multiplayer shooter game, has 500,000 daily active users, and so I thought it was very interesting, just like in some ways. And then someone told me like, what percentage of wallets even have over 1 Bitcoin in it? And it's like less than 1% of all the wallets have like over 1 Bitcoin. So we're still talking about a very small number of people who are daily, transacting in crypto and Web3. And but at the same time, we're at this juncture where for the first time, like at least for Bitcoin, there are really products for anyone and any age category, right? Like you can buy directly, you can buy an ETF. Now you can get, a real, you can do, kind of tokenized real estate, on-chain loans. You can buy NFTs. Like there's all these different products that are available for people with, potentially different risk appetite. So I just think we're just at a really exciting time to onboard more people into crypto with all these different options, right? Like my mom's not going to go to Coinbase and open up a wallet and try to buy Bitcoin directly. She's going to call her broker and probably invest in an ETF. But there's like a product for everybody now, which was not the case, I'd say, even like 3 years ago. So I think it's very exciting, and I couldn't agree more with the current administration. I think very bullish for 2025 generally, and what's going to happen. And, hopefully we get some more clear regulation put in place that will help, more businesses start in the US in the crypto space as well.
Hi, Amanda.
Yeah, fantastic. I couldn't agree with you
Hi.
more. Fitty,
Yeah,
weigh in on that?
yeah, absolutely. I want to jump in and say hello to Amanda. And I got to tell you, what she's saying is absolutely accurate. And what Natalia was said is good. So many things were said. The space was punished for creators and meme coins and everything else. And just recently, Trump's administration made an announcement that is possibly, again, it's not confirmed, going to be considered collectibles. If that's the case, you're going to see NFTs boom, you're going to see meme coins go harder and harder. And that's going to bring more businesses, and that's going to create mass adoption, because as big as we think we are, we're really tiny. Like, we're really tiny. I talk to people in the real estate game all the time. I invited a couple of my friends here from Selling Sunset. They're actually down in the audience listening, and they know. We meet with people. They kind of know what Bitcoin is. Then people, they don't. And I have friends that have bought some crypto, and I'll talk to you about real estate. I talk to a lot of real estate people, and I ask them, hey, have you thought about investing into some tokenized real estate? And I've been dabbling with it, and people are still confused and lost. But now that we are having, literally in the Trump administration, I don't know how many people we have in there that are crypto friendly, but it's a lot. Like, you've got David Sachs, you've got Kennedy, who's crypto friendly, you got Vivek, the top guys. So I think that they're going to pass some regulations that will make people feel comfortable. So as they start talking better for that, that's going to help everybody. It's going to help the NFTs. It's going to help the memes. It'll definitely help the real estate, because at the end of the day is people are going to need to park their money in other places than Lambos. When Lambo is going to be old, it's going to be when house. So I'm very bullish for 2025, 2026. The next 4 years are going to be incredible.
Yeah, Fiddy, couldn't agree with you more, Amanda, as well. This is a very exciting year, and yeah, people are really excited about the RWA topic. From what I saw in Davos and the panels I was on, is the traditional investors, it helped them understand a little bit more about the industry, because it's something they can grasp. They're like industries that they understand, and now, educating them on why this is so novel and why this is going to, elevate their industry. They're really interested. There's just a ton of interest. So it's really cool to see. And I want to go back to more on the announcement about the loan. So let's Elias, do you want to take that back? Go ahead and lead this topic, and we'll take some questions now as well. I think that would be great.
Yes, Crypto Megan, thank you very much. So as many of you have heard, we announced a little earlier about our world's first RWA backed Bitcoin loan, where it's double collateralized, and for sorry, I'm kind of like blanking right now. I'm having a little bit of a brain fog moment. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of freezing for a second. Megan, I apologize. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Sorry.
I think what we'll do is we had some people that wanted to come up and ask questions. I think we're going to add them as speakers now as well. So in the meantime, while we're waiting for them, I think what we need to do is we just need to focus on going forward, on continuing to build on, the things that are happening that are so innovative, and continue to educate on this topic, which is why we're here. Proppy is absolutely amazing at bringing all these thought leaders in. Like I said about Kathy Wood before, that was on one of the first spaces with Proppy earlier last year. The tech is ready now. And so we're getting a lot of eyes on this, and like never before. And that's what we're here to do now, is kind of just interact with people and educate them more on what Proppy has done, because it's absolutely fantastic. I see we have one request here. So I think we'll go ahead and bring them up so we can answer the questions now by KBot. Let's see. I'm going to try to get you up here. Okay, you should be a speaker now. KBot, did you have a question?
Hey, yes, thank you so much. This is very exciting. I shared the room. I follow many of you, and I'll follow you, Crypto Matt. I had a question about property. We have family members who have their names on many titles in our family. Does property have ways to explain when there's multiple people on the deed, and how that works, if you don't mind? Do they need to have separate wallets? If you've already explained that, I'll listen to the replay. But I just wanted to know briefly about, when you have several properties with several people owning, like family members. My grandparents come from both sides of the family, many siblings who own property all over America, and it's just like a lot of paperwork. And does property have ways that could streamline and make it more efficient of understanding when multiple people own properties, or am I too early asking these questions? Thank you so much.
That's a great question, and I'm so happy you're asking. It's very, very forward looking. For now, we have one token owned by a buyer or two buyers, not more. So we have not built a multi-sig specifically to real estate when 5, 6, 7 people can own this token. It could be, of course, addressed by traditional crypto ways where you set up multi-sig through known protocols and wallets. But it's definitely a great use case to further look at. We just didn't get there just yet.
No worries. I have another question, and I appreciate that. 50, I'm out here in LA too. I'm in the Porter Ranch area, Northridge area, and they're building all the time. Toll Brothers is out here. Lots of new properties. I would love to talk with you in the future. But Proppy, do you guys have any plans for digital twins of like metaverse real estate? People own real estate in places like Sandbox and Decentraland, and I anticipate as many other institutional investors come into the space, they might have some serious metaverse or industrial metaverse, utilities that they might think in ahead. Have you guys thought of that yet, or am I having another question that's like forward thinking?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have an ecosystem project called Proppy Keys, and with Proppy Keys, you can mint your address or any address on, let's say in LA. So you can mint your home, your friends, your neighborhood, all your relatives, and then you can upgrade them. You can put the deed there on chain, and then turn the real estate as an on-chain asset. And then hopefully this ecosystem that already has about 280,000 users, 280,000 addresses minted globally. And hopefully the ecosystem will evolve into a decentralized metaverse on its own, where crypto contributors will be able to bring 3D renderings and so but more realistic. So everything that Proppy is building and the entire ecosystem is very inspired to bring realism and pragmatism to owning property all over the world. And so if we're talking about a metaverse, that would be a replica of the real world. And you may know, because both of you are in real estate in LA, you may know that there are certain 3D rendering platforms that have already digitized over 5 million assets in 3D models in America. And these 3D assets, they just, they just exist in a file on someone's computer or a database. It's not united by a metaverse or an experience where you can actually browse around homes when you're buying them or you're visiting a friend, of course, with all the privacy protected. But that's a fascinating future that I'm sure will come, whether within our ecosystem or another, but I'm super excited about it. But yeah, let's get back to the loan. I know we got a little bit sidetracked. Let's get to the loan. Megan, who else is a speaker here? I don't see. Could you help?
Yeah, I think Joseph has just joined us now as a speaker. Joseph, if you'd like to weigh in on this, discuss a little bit about the announcement about the loan, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. I guess I want to start off just by congratulating Natalia and the whole Proppy team. I think this is incredibly exciting to think about, how far the whole Proppy team's come. I remember meeting Natalia 6 years ago in San Francisco, and starting to hear about what she was trying to do with Proppy, and the big visions that I think all of us have had, thinking about real estate and the innovation and the complexities that lie within it, right? I think that a lot of people think about, you can just buy a home and it should be pretty easy to do the transaction, and then you start to get into it and you realize that there's a loan application and processing and underwriting and then closing and title and all these laws and overlays and regulatory things that we all have to comply with, and then you go state by state, and everything is different. So there's a lot that goes into it, and I think that we all start off from a position of what would the ideal product look like, and then we end up having to pair it back with what we can actually deliver. So I think this is another huge step for bringing real world assets on chain. And I think I run Milo, and we launched crypto mortgages a couple of years ago, and we've done $50 million worth of transactions, and continuing to try to scale that out. But I think that this is another one of those big steps. So hopefully, with this new administration and with all of the exciting things that are happening, we're going to be able to finally start to put all of these different pieces together, with title and doing things on chain, and then bringing in people to bring in capital, which at least from our experience in the last 45 days, there's a lot more interest in thinking about how you deploy capital, and I think that that's going to make it a lot easier to think about these innovations, and hopefully giving everyone on this call and everywhere else, people that own Bitcoin and other digital assets, the opportunity to buy a home and not have to sell. So it's incredibly exciting to be able to get closer to what we believe is a more ideal, perfect product and home buying experience. And I'm very, very excited to see this, and I think 2025 is going to be a transformational year. So just all around great things. So
Absolutely. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you so much. Yeah. And guys, check out Milo. It's a crypto mortgage for crypto holding. It's a long term, so it's not the loan like we are doing now for 2 years. And we've been trying to work. Well, we've worked on a number of events together with Milo. We hope to work further deeper. And as Joseph said, there are a lot of pieces at the puzzle that we innovators and builders and founders are trying to put together, not from the technological side, but also the legal, the compliance, and so on. So I can't wait to see how this 2025, the crypto administration, and this year will bring us all together, really to redesign the whole real estate space, the mortgage space, and make it more fluid, connected. So Joseph, thank you so much for your kind words, and thank
Absolutely.
you for
Yeah.
innovating in the mortgage space.
Of course, I mean we all have our different roles to play within the ecosystem. So yeah, we're definitely looking forward to the days that we can put it all together and give people the experience and that they deserve and they want, and most importantly, be able to kind of highlight what are the benefits of never selling your Bitcoin, which I think we're all very, very familiar with on this call, but being able to piece it together with homeownership. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of, thank you for that, Joseph. And speaking of never selling your Bitcoin, I know that's one of Tim Draper's big visions, is being able to interact in a Bitcoin transactional world. And he is also an investor in Proppy, and I've had him on my podcast, and my podcast is now hosted on his Draper TV. We'll be doing a docuseries soon, powered by Proppy. But yeah, he had that vision that was that you could transact with your Bitcoin without having to sell it, use it as collateral. So it's really cool that he had that vision, that he did see what he saw in Proppy, and that you've come this far. So it's absolutely amazing. I don't know if we have any other questions. I see one request there. Maybe we can take one last question. Let's see. Let's see if we can bring him up as a speaker. Otherwise, we will get to the closing remarks. I'm trying to bring up Crypto is Real. Okay, you should be up now. Crypto is Real. Are you there? I think you should be a speaker now.
Yeah, I was just wanted to say hi. I recently had the chance to interview Natalia at Art Basel, and she really just she really rocked the stage and really had some interesting things to add to the conversation. And I think really educated everyone on the conversation. My one question is, I know that prior to the entrance of this administration was staying away from, and specifically on stage you said you were staying away from fractionalized real estate. Do you think that new legislation and things like that, is there interest inside, or is that even a conversation now, that the possibility of fractionalized real estate starts to open up for property?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think it all depends on the quality of the institutional client and the quality of their real estate assets that will determine if we want to get into fractional ownership. So let's say BlackRock will come to us and they say, well, as you know, we own $39 billion of real estate. Do do you want to partner with us to tokenize it via fractional ownership or tokenizing the fund, or maybe creating an NFT or a token for each of those properties, of course, we would jump on it right away. We just believe that there are a number of fractional ownership tokenization platforms that are live, and for now, we'd rather support them and send the community there if they want to, invest $100 bill to a real estate asset. So it all depends on the clients. From the regulatory point, actually, I don't believe that fractional ownership will be changed, because when you own a piece of an LLC that owns real estate, it's a security. I doubt anything will change, and it's very straightforward. And you have to put all the disclosures and do registration with SEC and the Reg D and the Reg A or Reg A. So it's pretty straightforward. It takes several months and about $50,000. But if we're tokenizing a property, I think it makes sense to launch it as a security. If it changes, that's fantastic. So I don't think that we have any barriers to fractional ownership as of now, besides that the asset owners historically just didn't want to bother, to put it on chain. And also the crypto holders, they didn't want to get securities to own a piece of real estate. They'd rather own a whole house when it's not a security and trade it on chain. So yeah, if there is the right client and the right asset class, because we never want to sell an undemanded property on chain. All our sales have been those properties that are demanded, high quality. Even for this property, which is outstanding in Hawaii, that will be auctioned out next week on January 29th. It's a revenue generating property. It has access to the beach. It has all the amenities. It has all the maintenance team to take care of it. So it's an amazing asset to get exposure to with leveraging your Bitcoin. So that's why we're super excited. But thank you so much for your question. And if we get into the space, of course, we'll announce it on X. So stay tuned.
Oh, very, very exciting times. I think now it's been an incredible space. We're coming up to the closing hour here, but we'd love to hear a few last remarks